My chair's making that noise again. Not the squeak. The other one, the low grunting sound. Like it's disappointed in me. Or about to collapse. Maybe both. I should probably fix it, but instead I read the news, which was a mistake. Because now I'm just sitting here, staring at the screen, trying to process what Bungie announced and what Bloomberg reported right after. I don't even know why I'm making this video. Honestly, maybe I just need to yap about it. Or maybe I'm just bored. Who knows? So here we are. Okay, so Bungie drops this thing called Monument of Triumph, which sounds like a victory lap. Their final big update for Destiny 2, coming next month. And after that, that's pretty much it. No more yearly expansions. No more big seasonal story drops. The game stays online. You can still log in and shoot things. But the live service train that's been running for over 10 years is finally pulling into the station. They called it Monument of Triumph, which sounds nice, I guess, until you think about it for 2 seconds. A monument is something you build to remember, something that's dead. You don't build a monument for something alive and thriving. So the name itself is basically a tombstone, a very polite tombstone, with a bow on it. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. Probably am. But it just feels like the kind of name you give something when you know it's over and you want to make it sound dignified, like calling a layoff a restructuring or whatever. It's just words, man. Anyway, I read that announcement and nodded along. Okay, end of an era. Makes sense. Games don't last forever. Then I kept scrolling and saw the Bloomberg article, and that's when I stopped nodding. Because Bloomberg reported that Bungie is planning a significant round of layoffs. Sources inside the studio, real people talking to real journalists, not rumors, not speculation, actual reporting. The Destiny 2 team doesn't have a new project lined up. They're not jumping into Destiny 3. They're shifting focus to Marathon, and a bunch of people are losing their jobs. So the timeline is to announce the final goodbye update and immediately follow it with the news that you're firing people. It's like throwing a farewell party, and during the party you tap someone on the shoulder. Hey, great speech, you're fired. What do I know though? I'm just some idiot online with a noisy chair. Now, I vaguely remembered something about Sony and a lot of money, so I looked it up, and yeah, Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. 3.6 billion, with a B. That's not let's make a nice little game money. That's we are buying the next massive entertainment empire money. That's the kind of money you spend when you think you're getting the next Star Wars. And now, a couple years later, the main game is winding down. The studio is planning layoffs. No Destiny 3, just Marathon, and a monument, which again, is a tombstone. I keep coming back to that number. 3.6 billion. It doesn't sound real. It's one of those figures your brain just refuses to process. Like when astronomers say a star is 1 billion light years away. Your brain goes, okay, sure, and moves on. Because if you actually thought about it, you'd go insane. Same thing here. $3.6 billion. And the outcome is, hey, we're letting people go. It almost loops back around to being funny, in the darkest, most uncomfortable way, like a joke where the setup is a decade of work and the punchline is a PDF from HR. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just rambling at this point. Probably think so. I've been reading reactions online all day, and it's exactly the chaotic mix you'd expect. Some people are relieved. The grind is finally over. No more chasing seasonal levels. No more logging in out of obligation. I get that, completely. Live service games are brutal. You have to keep people engaged every single month. Slip even a little, and players leave. And getting them back is way harder than keeping them. It's like a treadmill that never stops. Except the treadmill costs money, and occasionally deletes your favorite weapon. Bungie tried. They really tried. They had massive highs. The final shape brought a lot of people back. Moments where the community was genuinely hyped. But they also had serious lows. Lightfall, which a lot of people called a dud. The whole sunsetting mess. Removing content people paid for. That went over about as well as you'd expect, which is to say, terribly. I personally fell off around that time, not out of anger, just exhaustion. The game started feeling like a second job, and I already spend most of my day just doom scrolling videos and watching clips anyway. You know that feeling when a hobby becomes an obligation? That was me, logging in just to not miss out, not because I actually wanted to play. That's not gaming, that's a chore. And now, here we are. The live service train is stopping. The studio is shrinking. The big new bet is Marathon, which, I looked at some numbers. They're not exactly setting the world on fire. But that's a whole other video. I don't have the energy for that today. My chair is still making that noise. I should probably fix it. But fixing things requires effort, and I've already used all my effort thinking about $3.6 billion. The Bloomberg article mentions the Destiny 2 team doesn't have a new project. They're not secretly working on Destiny 3. They're not cooking up some massive surprise. They're shifting to Marathon. That tells you everything about where the priorities are. Sony bought Bungie expecting a live service powerhouse. Instead, they got a winding down game, a struggling new title, and layoffs. That's not exactly the return on investment you dream about. I bet someone in a boardroom somewhere is not having a great week. Or maybe they are. What do I know? I keep thinking about the people who built the raids, the story missions, and the music. All the little details that made the game feel alive. The hidden lore, the random dialogue, the way a gun felt when you fired it. That stuff doesn't come from executives. It comes from developers grinding for years. And now, a lot of them are looking at job boards. That part just sucks. There's no funny angle. It just sucks. At the same time, I understand why some players are ready to move on. The live service model can be draining, always chasing the next season, the next power level, the next thing before you fall behind. It wears people out. Eventually, they just stop. Not with a bang, a quiet uninstall. I've seen people say they're relieved, finally free. No more FOMO, no more battle passes. I get that, but still, watching a studio that built something this big have to lay people off just feels bad. I don't know. It's like watching a really long movie end on a bummer note, except the actors also lose their jobs. That's a terrible analogy. Forget it. Even if you stopped playing years ago, even if you were mad about sunsetting, even if you thought the game went downhill, the people losing jobs are not the ones who made those decisions. They're the ones who showed up and made the thing, and that's the part that sticks with me the most. I've been doom-scrolling reactions for hours. Old clips, screenshots of vaults full of memories, people saying goodbye to guardians they've had since the first game. Others just writing, finally. Some posting long emotional threads, some posting memes, the full spectrum of human emotion directed at a video game. The industry is full of moments like this. Games end, studios change, people move on. But this one feels heavier, because of how long Destiny has been around, how many people played it, how much money was involved, and how the ending is playing out. Not with a triumphant finale, but with a monument and layoff notices. I'm not mad at Bungie, I'm not mad at Sony. I'm just sitting here thinking, this is how it goes sometimes. You pour billions into something, millions of people play it, and it still ends with people losing jobs. The game will still be there. You can log in, shoot things, do raids, if you have a fire team, but the constant new content stream is stopping, and the people who made that content are being let go. That's the part that sticks. Anyway, this has been my long, rambling, slightly tired, completely unnecessary monologue about Bungie, Destiny, $3.6 billion, and a monument that's really a tombstone. I don't know what happens next. Maybe Marathon becomes huge. Maybe Destiny 3 happens someday. Maybe Sony figures something out, or maybe not. I have no predictions, just a noisy chair and a vague sense of disappointment. And also this number, 3.6 billion, still sitting there, being absurd. If you played Destiny over the years, tell me how you're feeling in the comments. I'm curious, and also, I need confirmation that I'm not the only one stuck on that number. Peace.